Good afternoon, happy Tuesday, and welcome to Coffee and a Card, Facebook Live. So just a weekly chance for us to get together and do some crafting, look at some happy mail, enjoy your projects, as well as see one that I'm going to make. So that's where we're heading today. I'll just get everything set up here while y'all are coming in. Welcome everybody who's coming in. Those of you saying you're watching the replay, you're not watching a replay. I'm live right now. So, welcome. Welcome to the live. So, oh, maybe I, hold on. I see what I did. I clicked on the wrong video. And that's why I was like, why are you guys all saying you're watching the replay? I get it now. I'm good. Hi, Patricia and Karen, Pauline, and everyone else who's coming in who's not watching a replay. I did that thing where you click on Facebook and the video hasn't actually loaded, and so I just, without even paying attention, clicked on the last video, and yeah, that explains my confusion. So we'll start today with some happy mail, and then I'll show you a project, and we're going to use some products from the sale-a-bration. So I like showing you products that you can earn for free. So we'll take a look at that. Yeah. So we'll start with a card from Kathy Ost in Minnesota. And it says, "Thanks, you're the best." How fun and colorful is that? And it has kind of a iridescent shimmer there on some of the pieces. So that is really cute. And I've got a card here from Pat Settle in Indiana. Oh, it's a calendar. "Wishing you a happy new year." And so it's got, let me unfold this. There we go. So it has a little easel. So I can, oh, that's the back side. Here we go. I can set it up on my desk and be able to see what day it is. So I don't know if knowing what day it is will help me be less discombobulated, but you know, we can dream, right? Well, thank you guys for the happy mail. I love seeing your creativity and being able to show it off. I do have a few other cards that have come that are birthday cards, and I'm going to save those and open them. I'm going to do a special live on my birthday next Monday, the 29th, and show those cards. So if you sent one and you were hoping to see it today, that's why I'm waiting. I will show all the birthday cards next Monday. Okay, so we're going to jump in to making a card. Like I said, using the sale-a-bration paper. And this is our sale-a-bration brochure. And I got a tip from somebody to try using vellum here to help with that glare. So we're gonna see if it helps. Let's test it here. So I'd have to put my vellum like this. We're just gonna work this, workshop this, is that what you call it? Workshop this live. Yeah, I can craft on top of vellum. That works. Something like that. I don't know. Anyways, here's the sale-a-bration brochure we're gonna be using today, or products from this. So I'm going to use, let's see here, this right here. Flight and Airy designer series paper. So it's a 12 by 12 paper. I'll show you that here in just a second. And then I'm also going to use towards the back this bundle, the Softly Sophisticated bundle. So that's on page 14, and the paper was on page 6. So 6 and 14 is where we're looking. So the paper is free with a $50 order, and this bundle is free with a $100 order. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at the paper. So I'll just pull this out of here and show you these designs. So we just have this adorable kind of watercolor look to the paper. Such beautiful color combinations. It just looks like, it looks like somebody painted this. And maybe they did. It's possible that that's how the Stampin' Up! Designers actually made this paper. Let's see, we got this one. So some of this background, backsides are great for backgrounds or for die cuts on your card. This is the pattern that we're using here today. So the back of today's pattern looks like that. Oh, that's really pretty. I kind of hate to cover that up on today's card. All right. Some of the paper, I mean, it's so hard to decide which side to use, you know, as you're adhering stuff down. And last but not least is this one. So here you've got some birds that you could easily fussy cut to apply to your cards. All right, so that's the Flight and Airy. And then I mentioned the Softly Sophisticated, which I've shown you before. But here's that stamp set and the embossing folder, which we'll be using in a card today. So we're going to use some of these leaves and flower stamps. And then I'm also going to bring in, because I wanted to make a birthday card, I'm bringing in the very best occasions so that I could make a birthday card. So, all right, last but not least, and actually where we're going to start today is with our dies. So we're going to start by die cutting using the deckled rectangles and the deckled circles. So if you haven't seen these yet, super fun dies to work with. Lots of great size options, so you can layer these however you need to on your cards, which is super fun. And sorry, just had to move that a little bit. I'm trying to adjust it here so I can, I'm totally crooked. Oops, there we go. That helps a little bit. Okay, so we're using deckled rectangles and deckled circles. So let's start there. Actually, let's show you where we're heading. Here's the card and where we're heading. So we've got our stamps inside and out, and we're going to be layering with the deckled rectangles. So what's fun about the layering, the deckled dies, there we go, we'll call them that, is, you know, it's really fun to put layers on your card and to kind of build it up on itself. But sometimes rather than doing straight cuts, the deckled rectangles give you kind of a subtle, not texture, a subtle, well, kind of texture to the edge of your card. So instead of having these real straight cuts, it's going to give just a slight curve to your pieces. So I'll be using Garden Green, Basic White, Flirty Flamingo, and a scrap of that designer series paper here. So that's what we're working with. So we'll start with these two. And let me grab my die cutting machine. So we have our stamp and emboss machine. And we are going to use, for our deckled rectangles, let me move this. We'll put white here. I wonder, I might be able to fit both of them here. So on my deckled rectangles, I'm going to use the second largest for my white. And just move this over. I think I can fit both of these on here. And then one size down for the Flirty Flamingo. So we'll put both of those on here. I don't have to worry about them staying straight because I am using the inside, not the outside. But you could use the outside as a frame on a different card. So let me show you what I mean by that. When we cut this out, you end up with this frame right here. And so you could actually save this. I would trim it evenly all the way around and then use it as a frame on a card. Okay, we're gonna set those rectangles aside. Oops, let's set these. And then we're gonna take our designer series paper and we're gonna go yet one more size down on our deckled rectangles. And now I'm gonna kind of pick where on this scrap I really want to get some of the kind of flirty flamingo looking, but I also want birds. Here, we're going to do this because I can get 2 birds if I do it right here. This is a 3-inch strip of designer series paper. And so I'm just using that and then choosing my die placement for maximum, I don't know, maximum beauty. Is that the thing? Just to place it right where I want it, so that I get the birds and some of the flower colors that I wanted. Okay, now, a couple more die cuts that we need. We're going to do a couple of deckled circles. So we're going to start with, let me get these circles here. We're going to start with, let's see, 3rd from the inside, I guess. 2nd and 3rd. So not the smallest, but the next 2 up. And we'll do the smaller one on our basic white and the larger one on a Flirty Flamingo scrap. And you can pick these sizes based on your sentiment. So I knew what size my stamp was, and so I just went for the circle that fit the size of stamp that I was using. Okay, we'll look at all the die cuts here in just a second. But before we put our machine away, let's do our embossing. So for our embossing, I am going to take my Garden Green card base. And actually, off screen, I'm gonna score this really quick at 4 1/4. So it's just a standard size card base, 5.5 by 8.5. And then I just scored it in half so we'd have our line to work with. And I am going to grab the embossing folder that's hiding from me. Okay, so we're using this embossing folder. And I am going to use the black line that's down here at the bottom to line up my card base. So I'm going to line up my card base on that black line, and then my score line is going to be right on the edge of the embossing folder. So I have to kind of tilt it towards me so I can see. Okay, so I have the bottom lined up on that black line, and I have my score line right here on the edge of my embossing folder. So I can put that down here. And we'll just emboss through here. I'll go about halfway and then come back. There we go. Okay, so let's take this machine out of the way. And we will look at all of our pieces now. So we have a card base now that has been embossed. So I think if I hold that up, you can see that embossing there, just embossing the front half of the card base. So we can fold that down now and make sure that my base lines up. There we go. Okay, so we have our embossed card base, and then we've got, we'll just bring back our dies. So we've got our little circle. Here's our white circle and our Flirty Flamingo circle. So we can put those 2 away. I need to transfer these to a magnetic sheet because it's way easier to pick them up and put them back. So I like to use magnetic sheets like this, which you can get on Amazon to hold my magnets in place, or to hold my dies in place. Makes it really nice to not lose your dies when you're using them a lot. And I use the deckled shapes a lot. Okay. So now we have our 3 deckled rectangles. Basic white, Flirty Flamingo, and the designer series paper. So let's start by just layering those on top of each other. So we'll add just in size order. So we'll put the Flirty Flamingo here on top of the basic white. And then we'll add the Designer Series paper. It's just a simple and easy way to step up your layers on your card. So we will dimensionalize this, add again some pop-up texture to the card. There we go. And this will also help, you know, when you emboss the front of your card gets a little bit more flimsy, I think is the word I'll use. So this is a little bit more flimsy now that I've embossed it. And so having this front panel is actually going to help stabilize the front of our card too. So that really helps. So we've got that, and I'm going to set that aside, and we are going to do some stamping. So I've got our 2 die cuts, and I also have a piece of basic white measuring 3 3/4 by 5. Now I'm going to grab a scrap piece of paper because I am going to be over stamping. So let's see here, if I can get this out. Here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to take this piece and we will start our whole stamping process. So let's start with our 3 3/4 by 5 here. Okay, this is going to be the insert of my card, and I need my ink. Here we go. We're going to use Garden Green ink, and I'm going to start with this large leaf oh my goodness, stamp right here. Okay, I'm going to ink up most of it. You're going to see this flower, or yeah, it's kind of flower leaf combination. I'm not going to ink that up. Okay, I just re-inked this ink pad, so it should be nice and juicy. So I'm going to do that, and then grab a Post-it note, because I actually want to cover up this section right here. See if I can get that to stick. All right, so now, ooh, that did not ink very well. Let's try that again. There we go. Now I'll cover it up. Just cover that. And we'll stamp it down here in the corner. Okay. Oh, some of it transferred. That's okay. Not a problem because I don't mind. So let me clean this off because we're going to use it again, but with a different color ink. So what happened was I did get a little bit of ink up here and I didn't notice it. And so when I went to go cover, actually, you know what? We can just do this again. Here's the beauty of live video. Cardstock has 2 sides. So let's do this. We're gonna ink up our stamp. Check to make sure I didn't get ink up here where I didn't want it. We'll apply our mask, and we'll just try this a second time. There we go. So this is what we call masking. You can use Post-it notes, washi tape, or masking paper, all sorts of things in order to mask your cards. But Post-it notes, I am a Post-it note crazy person, so I always have tons of them sitting around. All right, we'll clean that off again. And then I am going to use these 3 flowers right here. So there's 2 large flowers and then 1 little kind of bud right here. I'm not going to ink up that bud. So we'll grab our Flirty Flamingo ink. Oops. And I'll just ink up my 2 large flowers. And I am going to stamp those at the top of the leaf combination that I just did. So we have our flowers there. And then I'll also take my inside sentiment, which is sending you smiles for every moment of your special day. And we're gonna stamp that right in the middle. It's nice to have words on the inside of your card when you can. Okay, now I'm gonna grab the little die cut and we'll just close an ink pad here and grab a different one. We'll grab Soft Sea Foam. It's one of the coordinating colors for this ink, or this bundle. And once again, I want that kind of bottom section. So I'm gonna ink that up. Now, I don't have to mask this one because it's so large, it's gonna stamp right off of my tag. So we're just gonna stamp that here. There we go. So you'll see there, we just have some leaves. And then we'll take Happy Birthday in Garden Green. And we're gonna stamp that right over the Soft Sea Foam. So close both of those. For safety reasons, I always recommend closing your ink pads. Okay, safety first, kids, safety first. Also known as keep your hands ink free. Okay, so we'll bring back our card base here and I will apply this to the inside of my card. It's okay that I have a mess up on the back. It's not going to be noticeable. So we'll just stick that guy right there. And then on the front, I'll adhere these two circles together. And then we have to decide where we want them. And this is going to be based on the designer series paper that you choose to use. You can kind of decide where you want your circles. So obviously I don't want to cover up a bird like this, you know, so I'm actually thinking probably down here in the corner. Something like, I think I'm going to put it like right here, which means I'm just going to tape it flat. And then I'll bring back the sample card to show you where I put that one. But for this card, we're just going to do it right here. There we go. For embellishments, I'm going to use the opaque faceted gems. These are also a free sale-a-bration item. And I'm going to use the pool party ones and just put the little, there's two sizes of gems here. I'm using the smaller size, and I'm just putting some of those blue ones in the middle of the flowers. And then I'm going to take one large one and stick it up here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to use an odd number, so we'll just put one more flower gem right there. Okay, and so there we've got our birthday card. So you could take any color. So I would start with your designer series paper. If you're trying to figure out how to make this layout for yourself, start with your designer series paper and then work your color combination from there. So I chose the Flirty Flamingo because it's in the flowers, and then of course some white, and then the Garden Green, which is also the leaves of the paper. So start with your DSP and then choose your layers accordingly. And you could emboss the front of your embossing folder, or the front of your card flap, with any embossing folder that you want. Okay, let me bring back the sample. Because you can see here for this one, I put my happy birthday over here on the side because, again, I didn't want to hide my birds, because this paper just does the work for you. There's not a whole lot you need to add because this paper is so gorgeous. So again, that's the Flight and Airy paper from sale-a-bration. So, and along with a few other products that I incorporated with it. So I hope you enjoyed this card project. And just so you know, if you're waiting on card play kits and product shares, they've all been mailed. That's why I've been a little quiet the last few days, because I've been getting those shipped out for you. So they are on their way to you, as well as Card Club. That's also in the mail. So thanks for tuning in today, and don't forget to encourage one another and build each other up. I'll see you soon.